It seems like just another ordinary day in the city, until a sudden traffic jam throws everything into chaos. A businessman has abruptly stopped his car in the middle of the road because, for some unknown reason, he has completely lost his sight. A group of people gathers around to assist him, and one man offers to drive him home. However, as soon as they arrive and the businessman steps out, the man speeds off with the stolen car. The businessman is left stranded outside, but moments later the thief returns, pretending to be someone else and offering to help him get to his apartment. This time the businessman isn't fooled. He's learned his lesson and quickly kicks the thief out once he's safe inside. A few hours later, the businessman's wife comes home, and as soon as she discovers that her husband has gone blind, she takes him to see a specialist. Since it's an urgent case, the doctor lets them skip the line and go in first. Unfortunately, despite running multiple tests, he finds no signs of disease or damage to the businessman's eyes, meaning the cause must be neurological. With no clear explanation, the doctor recommends further testing at a hospital, though he's never encountered anything like this before. After the couple leaves, the doctor continues seeing his other patients, including a child, a woman wearing sunglasses, and a man with an eye patch. Meanwhile, the thief is driving around in the stolen car trying to avoid the police, but he suddenly has to stop. He's gone blind too. Left with no other option, he seeks help from the authorities. When an officer takes him to his former home, his ex-wife refuses to let him in. That evening, the woman in sunglasses checks into a hotel, orders a drink at the bar, and then joins her client upstairs. Their meeting goes smoothly, but the mood shifts when she suddenly starts panicking. Her vision has gone completely white. At home, the doctor enjoys a pleasant dinner with his wife, but their peace is shattered when he wakes up the next morning and realizes he has also lost his sight. Alarmed, he calls the hospital to warn them about a potential outbreak, and they take his concerns seriously, especially since the child he saw the previous day has also gone blind. Before long, more cases of sudden blindness start appearing all over the city, and the government begins taking its first measures to contain the crisis. The authorities shut down the doctor's office, and he is taken away to be placed in quarantine. His wife refuses to be separated from him, so she makes the decision to lie and pretend she's blind as well. The couple is transported to a rundown asylum, which is completely deserted. No other doctors will be staying with them. Each ward is equipped with a phone that can be used to contact the guards outside, but only in emergencies, and each ward must have a single designated representative allowed to use it. Before long, more people begin arriving, including the thief, the woman with sunglasses, the child, and the businessman. The doctor and his wife agree to keep her ability to see a secret. By pretending that she memorized the layout of the building when they first arrived, the doctor's wife becomes a guide for the others, helping them with things like finding the bathroom. During their first outing from the room, the thief walks too closely behind the sunglasses woman and gets a little too handsy. In response, she kicks him hard in the leg with her heel, leaving a nasty wound. Since there's no first aid kit available, the doctor and his wife do their best to clean and bandage it using a torn-up shirt. That night, the doctor's wife lies awake, worrying about the risk of infection in the thief's leg and fearing that she too might wake up blind. When the doctor makes a move on her, she brushes him off, choosing instead to go for a walk to clear her mind. By morning, more people arrive. The businessman is finally reunited with his wife, but the child is left heartbroken when he realizes his mother still hasn't shown up.
Okay, everyone, start getting yourself settled in.
The doctor and his wife attempt to reason with the guards, asking for medical assistance for the thief's worsening leg injury, but the guards refuse to help. Instead, they simply raise their weapons and order them back to their room under threat. Not long after, they receive their first food delivery. The meals are just as bad as something from a low-quality school or prison cafeteria.
Anybody has a knife?
Yeah, she was the one that infected me.
And to make matters worse, there isn't enough to go around. Desperate, the doctor's wife tries using the emergency phone to request more food and medical supplies, but the only response she gets is an automated voicemail, where she leaves several unanswered messages.
Medical supply kit. Blind ward, apparently you missed that because we don't have enough food.
As the weeks go by, more and more blind individuals are crammed into the asylum, making the already dire conditions even worse. In an attempt to help, the doctor's wife ties a clothesline between the wards to serve as a guide, while the doctor is chosen to be the representative of Ward 1. But as the population inside continues to grow, keeping any sense of order quickly becomes an impossible task. Since no one can see, cleanliness quickly becomes an afterthought, and people stop caring about basic hygiene. Some begin walking around naked, while others relieve themselves right in the middle of the hallways. The businessman tries to keep his spirits up by reminiscing with his wife about their younger years, but she refuses to entertain the thought of better times. She can't bear to remember a life that now feels completely lost. One afternoon, the doctor's wife hears a faint sound and discovers that Eye Patch Man has been secretly listening to a radio. She convinces him to share what he's learned with everyone, since they're all desperate to hear any news from the outside world. He explains that most stations have gone silent, but from what he has gathered, things escalated quickly. Within the first 24 hours, there were already hundreds of cases. The government's only response was to send the infected to the asylum and order the rest of the population to stay indoors. The public had to sit back and watch as experts from around the world gathered for long conferences, only to admit that they had no idea what was happening. Before long, even the experts started going blind, and the sickness spread internationally. People grew impatient and began venturing outside, but soldiers were stationed throughout the city, arresting anyone who disobeyed orders. Chaos erupted, car accidents became constant, and even planes started falling from the sky. Fear took over, and most citizens eventually chose to stay inside, turning the city into a ghost town. But with government officials now blind as well, no one is doing anything to fix the crisis. Days later, another massive group of infected is dumped at the asylum. The soldiers, now more ruthless than ever, shoot a man dead just because he accidentally steps out of line. The gunshot throws the crowd into a panic. People shove past each other in terror, pushing and trampling one another as they rush inside, even breaking down doors in the chaos. The worst part? The soldiers don't even bother retrieving the body. Hoping to give the man a proper burial, the doctor's wife requests a shovel. Instead of handing it to her, the soldiers just throw it into the middle of the yard, refusing to leave their posts. Since she's still pretending to be blind, she has to ask for directions, but the soldiers take the opportunity to mock her, letting her fumble around until she finally finds it, at which point she flips them off. Meanwhile, the doctor is struggling to maintain order. He tries to coordinate with the other ward representatives to organize the burial, since 2 more people have been shot. At the same time, he wants to address a growing issue. One of the wards has started hoarding more food than their fair share. The bartender grows tired of hearing the doctor act as the group's leader, and declares himself the ruler of Ward 3. His first decree? His ward will eat as much as they want before they even consider helping with the burials. Later, the doctor's wife checks in on the thief, whose condition has worsened. His leg is severely infected, and he's burning up with fever. She tries to comfort him, but suddenly, he turns threatening. He reveals that he knows her secret. She's not actually blind. Panicked, she rushes back to her husband, and finally breaks down. The thief, unable to bear the pain any longer, realizes there's no point in waiting for a slow, agonizing death. Dragging himself outside, he offers his body up to the soldiers, who waste no time shooting him down. The doctor's wife is overwhelmed with guilt, wondering if she should finally tell the others the truth, but the doctor forbids it. He also admits something that's been weighing on him. Their relationship no longer feels like a marriage. It feels like she's his caretaker instead of his wife. Not long after, the bartender and one of his ward members, the accountant, who was born blind and has an advantage in navigating this world, managed to locate the asylum's administrative office. Using the PA system, the bartender announces that he is now the king of the entire asylum. His first official rule? Food is no longer free. Everyone must pay for it. The announcement immediately sparks chaos near the food storage as people scramble to get what they can. That's when the bartender reveals his ace up his sleeve. He smuggled in a handgun when he was brought to the asylum. Firing a warning shot, he sends everyone running and declares that he and his ward will now control the food supply, threatening to shoot anyone who dares to steal from them. Some consider resisting, but going against an armed man is far too risky. In response, the doctor's wife gathers anything valuable from the people in her ward: wedding rings, jewelry, and whatever else they can find in their pockets. However, she secretly keeps a pair of scissors she finds in a woman's bag. The child has nothing to offer, but the sunglasses woman, who has taken on the role of his surrogate mother, promises to cover his share. At the food storage, the accountant uses his sense of touch to assess the quality of the items they receive as payment. But no matter how expensive the jewelry is, the bartender only hands out a few small food boxes per ward and silences anyone who dares to protest with another threat. People are now forced to split single-serving meals among multiple people. Meanwhile, the doctor withdraws from everyone, unable to keep up the facade of leadership when all he feels is failure. Sunglasses woman approaches the doctor to comfort him, reminding him that there's nothing he could have done against a gun. One thing leads to another, and the two end up getting frisky on the floor. The doctor's wife walks in just as they're finishing, but instead of causing a scene, she turns to Sunglasses woman and reveals her secret: she can see. She asks her to keep it quiet, letting the weight of that knowledge settle on her. A week later, once everyone in the asylum has run out of things to trade, the bartender makes a new announcement. Women can now offer their services in exchange for food. Furious, the doctor's wife marches outside to demand answers from the soldiers, asking why no new rations have been delivered. They coldly reply that they've already given everything they had. Rationing is up to the people inside. Back in Ward 1, an argument breaks out about how to handle the situation, but the doctor puts an end to it. He states that no one will be forced or pressured. It's a personal choice, and there will be no judgment either way. After long consideration, one of the women steps forward. Her bravery inspires others, including the doctor's wife and sunglasses woman, to follow. The businessman protests, trying to stop his wife from going, but she refuses to be treated differently and leaves anyway. The accountant arrives to collect them and leads them to the food storage room, where they endure the worst night of their lives. The men are brutal, violent. One of them is so rough that he kills one of the women. The next morning, the doctor's wife refuses to go back for the food. Instead, she and the others return carrying the woman's body, determined to clean her up and give her the farewell she deserves. Later that day, the accountant visits another ward to look for more volunteers. He even has the audacity to return to Ward 1, smugly congratulating the women on a job well done, adding that one of them didn't move much. That's when the doctor's wife realizes they don't even know one of the women had died. They used her body anyway. She tells the accountant the truth, watching as his smirk disappears. The taunting is the final straw. The doctor's wife takes the scissors she had hidden away and sneaks into the storage room, where the men are distracted by the women from Ward 2. Without hesitation, she drives the scissors into the bartender, killing him instantly. As chaos erupts, she grabs the other women and makes a run for it. The accountant, realizing what's happened, scrambles for the gun and fires after them, but his shots miss. Before leaving, the doctor's wife makes an announcement of her own. If they don't release the food, more men will die. Now it's her who will be collecting. The doctor worries this will start a war, and he's right. Ward 3 immediately barricades the area and still refuses to give up the food. Ward 1 prepares to fight and take back what belongs to them. But before they can act, one of the women takes matters into her own hands. She has been hiding a lighter in her pocket all this time, and now she finally puts it to use. Sneaking into Ward 3, she sets a fire. The flames spread fast, consuming everything and killing many of the men inside. As panic sets in, the doctor's wife takes control, guiding everyone out of the building. To their surprise, no one gets shot. The guards are gone from their towers, and the doors are unlocked. There's only one explanation. They're finally free. The doctor, his wife, the kid, eye patch man, sunglasses woman, the businessman, and his wife decide to stick together as they make their way downtown. But the city they once knew is gone. Society has completely collapsed. The streets are now a post-apocalyptic wasteland, filled with desperate survivors willing to attack each other at the mere suspicion that someone might have food. Starving animals roam freely, feasting on bodies. The doctor and his wife leave the group hidden inside a bar, while they go to a nearby market in search of supplies. Inside, people scavenge the empty shelves for anything left, but the doctor's wife has the advantage. She can see. Spotting a staircase, she climbs up to a storage room while the doctor gathers clothes. After stuffing a few bags, she tries to sneak out, but the sound of rustling alerts the other shoppers. In an instant, they swarm her, trying to steal whatever she's carrying. Hearing the commotion, the doctor rushes over. He shoves the crowd away and shields his wife, allowing them to make a break for it. Once they're a safe distance away, the wife takes a moment to catch her breath, while the doctor runs back to retrieve the clothes he had dropped. As she stands there, a friendly dog cautiously approaches her, wagging its tail. Then, without warning, the sky opens up. It starts raining. The doctor's wife gathers the dog in her arms and heads to a nearby church for shelter, waiting under its roof for her husband. Inside, the church is packed with people. Every statue has been covered, its eyes hidden beneath cloth. Yet a priest continues preaching the word of God. Outside, people embrace the downpour, collecting water and washing their bodies. It's the first clean water they've had in a long time. The doctor returns with the clothes and helps his wife rejoin the group. They settle inside the bar, sharing what little food they have, and deciding to stay the night so they can finally get some proper rest. When morning comes, they cautiously navigate through the ruined city, making their way to the home of the doctor and his wife, who have invited everyone to stay. From that point on, the group begins to build a routine. With the wife's sight guiding them, they clean up the apartment and divide the doctor's clothes among themselves. They only venture outside when it's necessary to search for food, and when it rains, they take the opportunity to collect water and wash. Eye Patch Man dreams of staying with them forever, feeling like they've become a real family. Meanwhile, the businessman's wife, who had struggled to accept their situation, finally reconnects with her husband, reminiscing about their younger years. The doctor and his wife also rekindle their bond. Now that the weight of constant stress has lifted, she finally lets herself relax and share intimacy with him again. Weeks later, as everyone prepares for breakfast, the businessman suddenly starts shouting. His vision has returned, just as suddenly as it had disappeared. The group erupts in celebration, realizing that their bodies are capable of overcoming the illness. Blindness is only temporary. Hope has returned.